everyone. This is Lindsay O'Donnell with Threatpost, and I'm here at RSA Conference 2020, which has kicked off this week, starting today. And I'm joined today by Lior Frenkel with Waterfall Security. He is the CEO and co-founder. Lior, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you very much for having me, and looking forward for a great RSA.
Yeah, no, lots to look forward to for sure. So Waterfall Security is an industrial control system and operational technology security company focused on those segments. Can you tell us a little bit about, just to start, yourself and how you really got into this specific segment?
Yeah, so we call ourselves the OT security company. We see ourselves as more and more solving a bigger part of the OT security issue for our customers. We are now 13 years on the road, so we have a very nice track record. And at the beginning, prior to Waterfall, I was a CEO of a company I founded before that, and we were more on the offensive side. And what we saw time after time, that getting in past perimeter security into the target's network, it doesn't matter if it's an IT network or an OT network, is a task that we or the bad guys never fails in. Without even getting too technical, each and every attack that you hear of, cyber attack, got in to its target passing a perimeter firewall, or else you would have never heard of it. It would fail, and it would be a non-attack. And we saw that repeatedly. There's a target. There's usually a firewall, sometimes some other means of security, and the attack gets in time after time. And it started making me feel relatively bad, saying, hey, critical infrastructure are secured the same way. Everything that you think about, those that are connected outside are secured by firewalls that everybody passes through. So what's the point? And that was, let's say the thing that started Waterfall eventually as a company, and got us to where we are now.
Yeah, you make a really good point about kind of how industrial systems are becoming more connected, and kind of the digital transformation that a lot of critical infrastructure companies are going through. And that's obviously increasing a bunch of the security threats in this space. What are some of the biggest cybersecurity threats that you are seeing when it comes to, OT and, different types of industrial control systems like HMIs, like PLCs, like all of those?
Okay, well, we see it in a bit in a different perspective. I see this as an evolution of the threat more than a specific vulnerability in a specific product or whatever. Let's say back in the days, the main perceived threat was nation state, players, terror groups. The least it was hacktivist trying to make a point, and so potential customers, when they understood the risk, they understand that they even understand that they are vulnerable. But most of them, which are not the biggest and most public and most important for the state, for the nation, they didn't really perceive themselves as a valid target. Who cares about whatever water system in somewhere in the country why should anybody waste time in trying to penetrate them and run a cyber attack? So some of them, the bigger ones, the ones which are more in the focus, ones where regulators usually care more about, they prep themselves even then. But all the rest, which is the vast majority, usually just wait. And what we see in the last few years is a big shift in that. One of the reasons I think the market is starting to grow much faster in the last 2-3 years is the proliferation of ransomware attacks, which we are used to see in regular IT environments and enterprises and even in SMBs. We now see more and more happening in OT environments because at the end, these attacks, which are criminal-based, not terror-based, not related to any type of warfare, they don't care if you're big or small. They don't care if you are, important or not. They care only if you can pay, and they can pay.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you bring up ransomware because, over the past year, we've heard, for example, the whole Norsk Hydro ransomware attack made the headlines. And then even a few weeks ago, we had CSEB warning about the U.S. pipeline that had been targeted by ransomware as well. But to your point, it's not just these larger manufacturers in terms of ransomware. Because a lot of these, machines and systems are downtime is so important for it. I feel like it's regardless of whether it's like a big like Norsk Hydro type company or even the small one, ransomware is so dangerous to industrial control systems and industrial companies as a whole. So is that something you're seeing as well?
Yeah, that's exactly what we are seeing. You mentioned the recent CISA report on the pipeline that actually had downtime in production. And if you read the report and read their conclusions and proposed mitigation, the first one is network segmentation. Don't go and just connect your OT into your IT and expect nothing bad will happen, because this is exactly what will happen. And it'll happen again if you don't change that. And inside the OT network, don't put a big flat network and connect everything and then connect it to the IT and expect nothing happen, because it'll happen. It'll happen again.
IT and OT convergence continues to be a big type of trend, but I wasn't sure if you had anything else that you were seeing from your perspective.
Yeah, well, what we are seeing so far in the year is that what we just talked before about ransomware, that trend is continuing and growing, and we see that starting from the critical infrastructure, the big utilities, the big sites of these customers, we are getting today customers and inquiries from prospects from totally different types of industries than before, which is a precursor to, I think, what's happening there from the maturity of the market. We are getting inquiries from building automation system vendors where you have big campuses or high rises with HVAC systems, with elevators, with safety systems, with water systems. All today are modern, all are computerized. Unfortunately, or for us fortunately, all are networked, and they are being attacked, or customers understand that this is not a good idea to have them exposed to attacks.
No, that's definitely a really good point. And I'm sure that we'll also see a lot of discussions around OT at RSA this week as well. So I'm sure lots of exciting things to look forward to at the show. So Lior, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us today.
Thank you, Lindsay. It was a pleasure.